Welcome back to this 108-day Surya Namaskara or Sun Salutations journey. Today is day 95, and today we reflect on something very subtle but very important: the ego in yoga. Now, when we hear the word ego, we often think of arrogance. But in yoga, ego is not always loud. Sometimes ego is very quiet. It hides behind comparison. It hides behind perfectionism. It hides behind the need to look spiritual. It hides behind the desire to be seen as disciplined, flexible, strong, or advanced. And this is where yoga becomes interesting. Because the very practice that is meant to dissolve ego can sometimes become another playground for the ego. In Surya Namaskara, this can happen easily. The mind may start asking, am I doing this better than others? Do I look graceful enough? Is my posture deep enough? Is my body flexible enough? Will people appreciate this? Am I progressing fast enough? And slowly, without realizing it, the practice becomes less about awareness and more about identity. Less about presence and more about performance. Less about yoga and more about me doing yoga. This is the subtle movement of ego. But true yoga gently asks us to return. Return from performance to presence. Return from comparison to sincerity. Return from achievement to awareness. Return from the image of practice to the truth of practice. Because yoga is not asking, how impressive do you look? Yoga is asking, how honestly are you present? Are you breathing consciously? Are you listening to the body? Are you moving with humility? Are you practicing with devotion? Are you becoming more peaceful, more compassionate, more aware? That is the real test. Not whether the body can bend more, but whether the ego can soften more. The ego always wants to measure better or worse, ahead or behind, superior or inferior, successful or failing. But the soul does not practice like that. The soul practices with reverence. It knows today's body is today's body. Today's breath is today's breath. Today's practice is today's offering. Some days you may feel strong. Some days you may feel stiff. Some days your breath may flow smoothly. Some days the mind may wander again and again. But if you show up with sincerity, that day's practice is complete. Not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. There is also another subtle form of ego, the ego of self-criticism. Sometimes people think ego only says, I am great. But ego also says, I am terrible. Both are still centered around I. I am the best. I am the worst. Both keep the mind trapped in self-importance. Yoga invites us beyond both. Not superiority, not inferiority, just presence, just breath, just practice, just this moment. This is deeply liberating because you no longer have to prove anything on the mat. You only have to meet yourself truthfully. So, while practicing Surya Namaskara today, notice where ego enters. Does it enter as rushing? Does it enter as comparison? Does it enter as frustration? Does it enter as wanting the posture to look a certain way? Does it enter as disappointment because the body is not doing what the mind wants? And when you notice it, do not fight it. Do not create another ego around destroying the ego. Simply smile inwardly. Notice it. Breathe. Return. That gentle return is yoga. The sun does not rise to impress anyone. The river does not flow to prove its worth. The tree does not grow by comparing itself to another tree. Nature simply expresses its dharma. And Surya Namaskara reminds us to do the same. Move sincerely, breathe honestly, offer the practice, let the result go. This is where ego begins to soften, because the practice is no longer about becoming special. It becomes about becoming clear, not superior, clear, not impressive, awake, not perfect, present. And this teaching applies far beyond the mat. In life also, ego appears in subtle ways. When we need constant validation, when we compare our journey with someone else's timeline, when we feel hurt because we were not appreciated, when we confuse our worth with our achievements, when we cannot accept where we are today. Yoga gives us another way. Do the work, offer the effort, stay sincere, let go of the need to control how it is seen. That is freedom. So today's reflection is, where in my practice and in my life am I trying to prove something instead of simply being present? Stay with this question gently, not with guilt, not with harshness, but with honesty. This is day 95 of 108. Let Surya Namaskara become a mirror. Let the breath soften the ego. Let the body become an offering. And let the practice bring you back from performance to presence. See you on day 96. Namaste.